Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Sai Satcharitra, an insight. Episode 136. My humble prostrations at the lotus feet of our Sadguru Sai. By the divine grace of Sai, an attempt has been made to translate the gist of the divine discourse of Sri Ramanathan brother telecasted in Sai TV. This is purely done to share the glory of Sai and his divine teachings with more insight to the aspirants. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnuhu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. In the previous episode, we listened to the Leelas of Dattatreya Damodar Rasane, alias Nana Sahib Rasane, whose children died in few months after their birth, and to the distressed Nana Sahib, Sri Sai Maharaj said that the child was born in a horoscope constellation which was dangerous to the parents. Hence, to protect them, he has taken the child and will give another soon. As professed by Sri Sai Baba, within 15 months, a son was born to Dattatreya Damodar Rasane, who had a long life span. Then, in another few years, one more son was born. He was named Sai Das and also lived long. These particulars have been personally voiced out by Nana Sahib Rasane to Pujya Sri Narasimha Swamiji. Let us now listen to the personal traits of Nana Sahib Rasane, which divulges his devotion towards his Guru Sri Sai Maharaj. His special characteristic was he would see his Guru Sri Sainath Maharaj in everyone. It is very easy for us to say that we should see God in everyone, but practically it is impossible for us because we only recall the good and bad qualities of the other person when we meet or think of them and are connecting to their soul. But Nana Sahib Rasane was so pure at heart that he could only see the soul of the person and not the physical form or the attitude of that person. Hence, effortlessly, he could see everyone as Sri Sai Maharaj. This was Nana Sahib's approach to a householder, and when it comes to having darshan of saints, he always had high regard for them, and at the same time, when he prostrated to their feet to take their blessings, he would always say, "My prostrations to Sri Sadguru Sainath Maharaj." This echoes his thoughts that was ever engrossed on his Guru and the outlook of considering every saint as Sri Sainath Maharaj. In the year 1927, he visited Sri Narayan Maharaj at Kedgaon Pit. Meher Baba refers Narayan Maharaj as a perfect master. Sri Narayan Maharaj has been blessed by Lord Dattatreya in his infancy, as evidenced by the miracles he had even as a boy of 7 or 8. When Pujya Sri Narasimha Swamiji was on his quest for Guru, say in the beginning of the year 1933, he reached Kedgaon, a place near Pune, to visit the ashram of Narayan Maharaj to get some guidance from this spiritual master. Sri Narayan Maharaj had built a majestic temple of Lord Dattatreya. Pujya Sri Narasimha Swamiji went and sat in the Lord Dattatreya shrine and decided to put forward a request to Bet Narayan Maharaj. But the place was filled with many people, and Narasimha Swamiji decided to place his request using figurative speech. Hence, he spoke thus: I am a merchant dealing in gems, but I am a very fortunate dealer. I have come across many gems, but none of them has satisfied me so far. Each gem I get is very tiny and has dots, cracks, or other flaws. Will you please bless me so that I may get one pure, bit, flawless diamond? Devotees can get to read this beautiful conversation that took place between Narayan Maharaj and Narasimha Swamiji in the biography of Pujya Sri Narasimha Swamiji. Sadguru Narayan Maharaj, through his clairvoyance, must have known that Pujya Sri Narasimha Swamiji will turn to be the greatest apostle of Sri Sainath Maharaj. Hence, after a moment's thought, he blessed him, saying, "Yes, you will have your desire fulfilled." As foretold by Sri Narayan Maharaj, subsequently Pujya Sri Narasimha Swamiji had darshan of few saints, and during the year 1936 he was blessed to have the Samadhi darshan of Sri Sainath Maharaj, where he was possessed by Sri Sai Baba and realized that Sri Sai Baba was his Sadguru. Getting back to the original thread, Dattatreya Damodar Rasane went to visit Sri Narayan Maharaj around the year 1927, and when he prostrated at the feet of Sri Narayan Maharaj, in his mind he was thinking that he was bowing down to Sri Sadguru Sainath Maharaj and spoke in his heart prostrations to the holy feet of Sri Sainath Maharaj. Immediately, Sri Narayan Maharaj said to Dattatreya, "Your Guru is Parama Guru. He is of higher sort than me. Why did you come here? Your Prarabdha Sanchita is there. Your choice is excellent. Go there and you will achieve your purpose." Devotees, please pay your full attention. No words were explicitly spoken by Nana Sahib Rasane. He submitted his reverence mentally to Sri Sainath Maharaj while prostrating to the feet of Sri Narayan Maharaj, and the latter, being a perfect master, needs no details of the person standing before him, and in fraction of a second he recognized that Nana Sahib Rasane is the devotee of Sri Sainath Maharaj and will evolve to be a best devotee of Sri Sai Baba. Here is another fabulous miracle from the life of Dattatreya Damodar Rasane. He had the practice of visiting Lord Shiva's temple known as Sitaram Uttareshwar at 2 miles of Junnar and 40 miles from Pune on every Sunday. He was not keeping good health those days. Hence, he looked very tired and weak. Though he was sick, he didn't want to give up the practice of visiting the temple. Hence, he managed to go up to have darshan of the Lord Sitaram Uttareshwar. One day, he reached the temple around 9 p.m. and as usual, he offered the flowers on the god, fell down to submit his salutation, and as always, he was thinking of Lord Sri Sai Baba in his mind and mentally said prostrations to Lord Sri Sai Baba while bowing down to Lord Shiva. Lo, there he saw a light at the image of the god, and in that light he could see the form of Lord Sri Sai Baba, in whose memory he is always. After this vision, from that moment, Dattatreya Damodar Rasane's health improved. In this temple, Dattatreya Damodar Rasane also had another incredible experience. A saint by named Janakidas was living there, and Damodar Rasane would visit him every Sunday and prostrate at his feet with the same practice of holding Sri Sainath Maharaj's name on his lips. Once, When he submitted his salutations to this saint Janakidas, the latter spoke thus: "You have resorted to a great saint. Why do you come to a poor saint like me? People like me seize the feet of Sai Baba." These incidents substantiate the point that Dattatreya Damodar Rasane could see Sri Sai Baba in everything and in everybody, be it a pratima of a god, a living saint, or a householder. Every saint could recognize that Dattatreya Damodar was devoted to Sri Sainath Maharaj. His devotion to his Guru Sri Sai Baba was of paramount importance to him. Nana Sahib was under the complete protection of Sri Sai Baba. Still, he needs to go through the karmic cycle for this life. He had to endure problems that were life threatening. During the year 1932, in the month of September, he and his family set out on a pilgrimage to Mathura. Those days, going on a pilgrimage was not that easy as now. This is not just in the standpoint of commutation. Also, they had to face many threats, such as becoming a target of criminal elements such as muggers, or could be a victim of contagious diseases. Cholera and plague was the greatest threat of those days, and when the pandemic occurred in a region, the death toll was a very huge number, and the disease would spread like a wildfire, taking the lives of the people in multitudes. Mass burying or cremating of the dead bodies were done. When pilgrims become a victim of it, then they will not be able to continue their journey as planned. So, when a person is set out on a pilgrimage, their return would be indefinite and adventurous. Now, when Dattatreya Damodar Rasane and his family reached Mathura, cholera epidemic was on its full swing. Many people became a victim of the pandemic, and Nana Sahib Rasane was also one among them. The severity of the disease was acute that he was pushed to deathbed. He had dryness in the mouth, his body was fully dehydrated, became extremely weak, and was completely exhausted. With this health condition, he could not be taken to the doctor. So they brought the doctor to their place of lodging to examine Nana Sahib Rasane. The doctor checked his pulse and said death was impending as the disease has taken a toll on his health. Damu Anna was disheartened. He sat down next to his son and asked him, "Tell me what your last wish is. Let me fulfill it." Devotees, please listen to the words of Nana Sahib Rasane. The most fervent devotee of Sri Sai Baba said, "Please take me to Shirdi. If I die, I must be cremated there, as I consider Sri Sai Baba as Lord Krishna. Hence, make arrangements to go to Shirdi." The troop is already stationed at Mathura, abode of Lord Krishna. But for Nana Sahib, his Krishna is in Shirdi. Hence, he wanted to be taken to Shirdi and cremated in the soil of Shirdi, that being the abode Sri Sainath Maharaj. Damu Anna himself has witnessed many divine plays of Sri Sai Maharaj. He was in horripilation listening to the response of his son. He placed a photograph of Sri Sai Maharaj under the pillow of Nana Sahib Rasane, offered an incense stick, and prayed fervently to save his son. Udi was smeared on Nana Sahib Rasane. The holy water from Mathura was given time to time. Around midnight, Dattatreya's sister-in-law was taking care of him, and suddenly she was possessed by a spirit. The spirit in her body began to speak thus: "I am Meera Dattar, a saint of Unava, a place in the state of Gujarat near Sidhpur." He said, You're calling on Sai. He is old and cannot easily move. He is my Kaka. He has sent me, and I am here on his behalf. Have no fears. You will have his grace. You will see him in spirit tomorrow. Prepare a cup of coffee and give it to the patient. After speaking such promising words and instructing a remedy for Nana Sahib Rasane, the spirit of Mira Dattar left the body of Nana Sahib's sister-in-law. The Mira Dattar was a renowned Mohammedan saint from Gujarat, and the remedy he ordered was to provide coffee to the patient who has been suffering from severe cholera, experiencing frequent diarrhea and vomiting, to whom death can happen any soon. To such a person, will coffee be a remedy? Can be the thought of the listeners. But the family had unswerving faith on Sri Sai, and with implicit obedience, the command of the saint was immediately executed. Coffee was prepared, and as insisted by Nana Sahib Rasane, Udi was added to the drink and was slowly poured into his mouth. Lo, in a short while, fever began to reduce, his loose motion stopped, and by morning he gained some energy to get up from his bed and move around. Therefore, he could slowly walk to the doctor's home that examined him the previous day. The doctor was in utter amazement to see Nana Sahib Rasane at his doorsteps, as he had no hope on his patient's upturn and anticipated to hear the worst. He was astonished and happy to see Nana Sahib Rasane, and asked those who accompanied him what miracle had happened that he got cured and is able to be on his toes this soon. Immediately, Nana Sahib replied, "My Sai is the doctor of doctors. His sacred Udi saved me." Needless to say that this incredible experience turned the doctor to become a devotee of Sri Sai Maharaj, as he had witnessed this amazing miracle. All these incidents are portraying the steadfast faith and devotion that Nana Sahib Rasane had on Sri Sai Baba. Now, let us listen to the incident that proclaims his progress in spiritual life. At the beginning of this episode, I said that Dattatreya Damodar Rasane met Saint Janaki Das, who was residing at Sitaram Uttareshwar temple. And after this meeting, when Dattatreya returned to his lodging, he had a dream in which Sri Sai Baba appeared as a fakir. The conversation that took place between the two is very interesting and awe-inspiring. Sri Sai Baba: "You are full of anxiety. Give me your entire body and mind as bhiksha to me." Nana Sahib Rasane: "I will give this bhiksha and then inform my father." Sri Sai Baba: "How can you do it without consulting your father?" Nana Sahib Rasane: "I am master of my life. My father has other sons and he will not object. You gave the children, and there can be no objection to my being given to you." Devotees, is this not a unique bhiksha? We have read in Sri Sai SATCHARITRA that Sri Sainath asks money as dakshana from devotees. But here he is asking Nana Sahib to submit his body and mind as an offering, and the response of Nana Sahib is also inspiring. In the dream, Sri Sai Baba lifted Nana Sahib Rasane's body, took up in his palm and kept him into his chest pocket. While sharing this incredible miracle at an interview to Pujya Sri Narasimha Swamiji, Nana Sahib Rasane said, "The moment Sri Sai kept him into his chest pocket, he experienced bliss and was extremely happy, marveling at the compassion Sri Sai Baba has upon him that he placed him close to his heart. This astounding experience evidently depicts that Sri Nana Sahib Rasane was at the highest level in the spiritual ladder. Nana Sahib Rasane desired to serve Sri Sai Baba, and always that took precedence over any other work. Even when Nana Sahib Rasane was very young, Sri Sainath Maharaj has asserted that he will submit to his service, and as proclaimed by Sri Sai Maharaj, the services rendered by Nana Sahib Rasane are of paramount importance. What are those? Keep pondering until we listen to those mind-boggling leelas and marvel at the services rendered by this great devotee in the coming episode. Bow to Sri Sai. Peace be to all. Om Sai Ram.